Shervon Alexander, a devoted mother at 29, was thought of by friends and family as a joyful and happy person who wanted only the best for her family. With an impending fairy tale marriage on the horizon, her life takes a tragic turn when she is shockingly attacked. What could have led to such a terrible fate for a soon-to-be bride? What happened to Shervon Alexander? What happens when love becomes fatal? This is the Fatal Attraction Podcast with A Lethal Engagement.
July 11th, 2011. It's a quiet Monday in River Forest, Illinois, an upscale suburb on Chicago's north side.
River Forest, Illinois, is one of the wealthiest suburbs in the Chicagoland area.
It's just a beautiful town in the middle of a really otherwise urban surrounding area.
People come from the other communities around us to walk, to jog. We're really just known as a safe community.
But this affluent community is about to be rocked by a shocking crime.
Around 10 p.m., the police got a frantic 911 call.
911, what's the industry emergency?
The caller is 39-year-old Devin Bickham Sr.
He was absolutely distraught. He was hysterical. He was crying. He was screaming.
Eventually, he managed to tell the dispatcher that he was calling from a popular park in River Forest.
What is going on?
The victim is 29-year-old Shervon Alexander.
Mr. Bickham stated that they were sitting in their vehicle when a guy ran up to them and shot at the car.
Who shot your girlfriend? Oh, no!
Devin said it all happened very fast, and he didn't get a good look at the shooter.
Is your girlfriend breathing?
He just kept repeating that she was gone.
For Chicago native Shervon Alexander, family was always number one.
We did a lot of things together. We had a lot of fun. We would laugh a lot.
She was just joyful. She loved family. She truly loved family.
She was always such a happy person, lovable person.
But Shervon also had a serious side.
She was interested in law enforcement.
She went to college. She got her associates in criminal justice, and then she went on and got a bachelor's in criminal justice.
She wanted to make a difference.
However, despite her academic success, Shervon considered her greatest achievement in life to be her 9-year-old daughter, Ayanna.
Ayanna, that was the joy of her life.
She was like a best friend. She was a hero. To have someone like that in your life, you could be very lucky. She was a provider, a protector, an individual that just was selfless and always there for me.
Shervon was a wonderful mom. She was a loving mom.
It hadn't always been easy, though, since Shervon and Ayanna's father were no longer together.
She believed she found love for a while, but it was young, so it wasn't nothing stable enough for her to keep it along run.
She was looking for love. She wanted to settle down.
And in 2010, Shervon met a man who promised to make all her dreams come true, Devin Bickham Sr.
He was an ex-Chicago police officer.
He was also an entrepreneur.
Devin had a business delivering furniture for several big retailers.
And he knew how to treat a lady.
You look great.
Thank you. So where are we going tonight?
It's a surprise.
They would have nights out on the town, just really enjoy each other.
Shervon found her Prince Charming. He swept her off her feet. She loved him so dearly.
Devin also made it clear that he was more than willing to become a father figure to Shervon's little girl.
He tried to build a relationship with her daughter.
Hey! It was pretty cool. He would want myself to call him Dad.
Devin had an older son from a previous relationship, so he wasn't new to the whole dad thing.
Devin Sr., he would bring him around. They all play basketball together.
Hey, Ayana. How you doing, pretty girl?
I think they'll get along.
So I hear you like to play basketball.
He was such a kind person whenever I was around him. That was the brother I never had, seriously.
In fact, Devin and his son were such a welcome addition to the family that in just 6 months, Devin and Shervon were engaged.
They were talking about who's going to be the bridesmaids, what their colors was going to be and everything.
I was glad for her because I felt if anyone deserved true love, she did.
But now, Shervon may never walk down the aisle.
Devin had just called 911 to report Shervon had just been shot while sitting in their car at a park in River Forest.
Waiting for police to arrive, Devin dials Shervon's mother. But it's Ayana who picks up the phone.
Hello?
My grandma and I were at the table playing cards, and he calls saying, "Your mom has gotten shot." And originally, I just took it like, stop playing. He said it again, and at that moment, it just felt so surreal. Hello? Slow down, Devin.
Devin was, crying hysterically.
Just sound delirious,
What?
Eventually, the message came through.
By then, I knew it was real.
When first responders arrive at the scene, Devin is still in a panic.
When I first arrived on scene, I saw Devin Bickham Sr. screaming frantically and on the phone.
The police found Miss Alexander in the passenger seat with multiple gunshot wounds.
However, contrary to what Devin told the dispatcher, Shervon isn't dead.
She was actually still clinging on to life. There was still hope that Shervon would make it.
But while EMTs race Shervon to the hospital, will detectives be able to piece together what happened?
No one was prepared for what they'd uncovered.
It was terrifying.
And it probably became one of the more bizarre cases that our agency has investigated.
Stay tuned as we uncover what happened to beloved mother Shervon Alexander on the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Seven months into their whirlwind relationship, Devin Bickham and Shervon Alexander were planning a wedding.
She did express to me that he loved her and that she loved him and that she was ready to settle down.
Looked like to me we was getting ready to get us a wedding going.
But will the happy couple ever say, I do? At 10 o'clock on the evening of July 11th, 2011, Devin makes a panic-stricken 911 call from a suburban Chicago park.
Your girlfriend got shot?
When the emergency crew got there, they get her loaded up and go to the hospital.
While the ambulance rushes Shervon to the emergency room, detectives arrive and pull Devin aside for a brief statement.
As soon as we arrived at the park, we started to coordinate information from Devin Bickham Sr.
Still extremely distraught, Devin tries to walk detectives through what happened.
We were just having dinner with the family, man. We just want some alone time.
They decided they were going to go to the park just to talk.
They've been to that location before. The park over there is extremely safe. The neighborhood's extremely safe. And of course, it'd be a great location if you wanted to sit there and talk with someone and not worry about being bothered.
But even the safest place can be dangerous.
Once they were at the park, Devin Sr. said that they were talking briefly, and that's when they noticed someone in the bushes.
What is he doing over there?
I don't know. We should probably leave.
While they were talking, a African-American male in a white shirt jumped out of the bushes.
And according to Devin, the man had a gun.
Get down! Get down!
He fired multiple rounds into the vehicle, which struck Siobhan Alexander.
Mr. Bickham said that he rolled out of the driver's side onto the ground to avoid being shot.
Devin says that when the gunfire stopped, he jumped up and chased after the assailant.
Even though Devin wasn't armed, he was a former cop, and chasing after a suspect was still kind of a reflex.
Devin never caught up to the suspect, but was able to give detectives a general description.
He said the gunman jumped in the passenger side of a gray sedan and sped off.
It was last seen going south, so that information was relayed over the radio to other officers in the area.
Then, as the gunman and his driver sped away, Devin had turned his attention back to Siobhan.
Oh my God!
When Mr. Bickham returned to the vehicle, he was absolutely positively sure that Miss Alexander was dead. And that's when he made the 911 phone call.
911, what's your emergency?
Detectives have little reason to doubt Devin's story.
The parking spots where the vehicle was parked was not well lit at all at the time, and really someone would have been able to run up and ambush the car very easily.
He would be obstructed from any view from the street.
His story also fits the evidence detectives find at the scene.
They recovered several shell casings.
Fired by a .380 automatic, they're on the ground outside the passenger side window.
They found the casings exactly where Devin said the shooter had been standing.
But that's not all that confirms Devin's account of the shooting.
We were able to locate a couple of witnesses who were actually inside of the park. They were two juveniles.
They hadn't seen the shooting, but they did hear it.
The teenagers said they were hanging out at the park, and all of a sudden they heard 3 or 4 bangs.
In fact, one of the teens had called 911 almost at the same time as Devin Bickham.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
Hi, I'm at Priory Park in River Forest, and someone just got shot.
Okay, slow down. Did you see the person that shot her?
We saw someone run.
The teenagers said they saw a African-American male running down the parking lot.
Did you see what kind of a gun he had?
I didn't see anything on him.
They went to go see what it was, and they discovered a man on the phone crying.
His man was just screaming saying his girlfriend got shot.
The man that the teenagers did find crying was Mr. Bickham.
The teen's story had basically confirmed everything that Devin told detectives.
But the biggest confirmation comes less than a half-mile away.
After Devin Bickham gave the description of the vehicle and of the offenders, that car was stopped about 12 blocks away.
Inside were 2 males, and those 2 males were wearing white shirts.
The occupants were taken out of the vehicle.
Is one of them the shooter? While searching the vehicle, officers find a gun.
That gun was located underneath the seat.
The firearm itself, it was a Lorsen .380, the same caliber as evidence found at the scene.
It looked like the case was basically solved.
All detectives need is one final confirmation.
We transported Devin Bickham to the area of Harlem and Madison, just north of Madison Street, to identify the 2 individuals.
Do you recognize either of these as a shooter?
I don't know. It just happened all so fast.
But then, As the officers begin to haul the suspects away, Devin tells them to wait.
You recognize one of them?
Devin said it wasn't because he was the shooter.
Mr. Bickham revealed to them that one of the two suspects was actually his son.
That's my son.
Stay tuned as we uncover what happened to beloved mother Shervon Alexander on the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Hold on.
Devin Bickham Sr. has just revealed to detectives that one of the men they suspect of shooting his girlfriend, Shervon Alexander, is actually his son, Devin Jr.
Obviously, this is like a big shock to the police officers.
And it wasn't a random act of violence. I had Devin Bickham Sr. as the caller, and Devin Bickham Jr. was pulled over. That obviously that there was a relationship between the two.
You know this gentleman?
Devin also identifies the other man as 35-year-old Cardell Taylor.
Detectives had wondered why Devin didn't say he knew the men in the first place.
That definitely raised a lot of red flags for us. That he failed to initially identify his own son and the other subject, Mr. Taylor, at the scene when the officers had brought him there.
Was it simply shock at the sudden realization that his son might be involved?
Up to that point, detectives hadn't had any reason to doubt Devin's story.
He's the one who provided the description of the male offender and said that he was wearing a white t-shirt, left in a silver car.
Basically, if it wasn't for Devin Sr., the police never would have pulled his son over in the first place.
It's just such a coincidence that the males they were looking for happened to be related to him.
Then, as detectives put DJ and Cardell into the back of a squad car to bring them in for questioning, they get an unsolicited clue.
Police officers hear Cardell tell DJ that he wanted his money.
Yo, when I'm gonna get my money, playboy?
When are you gonna pay me? Can I get the rest of my money?
They could be possibly dealing with a murder for hire.
While officers drive Devin Sr. and the two suspects to the station for formal statements, Shervon's family races to the hospital.
Officers had called Shervon's next of kin to tell them where they were transporting her.
I sped and rushed down there as fast as I could.
So when I finally got to the emergency entrance to where they had taken her, I noticed that Darius had made it there.
What I can remember is I asked the doctor to me, is she going to be okay? I remember he shook his head, and I broke down and started crying.
Shervon was pronounced dead shortly after her arrival to the hospital.
My mind at the time, I couldn't believe it. But I figured this has got to be a big joke, you know. I couldn't actually believe that my daughter was gone.
The family has barely had time to process the news when detectives arrive.
By the time I arrived at the emergency room, she had already been pronounced dead.
While Shervon's brother comforts their mom, her cousin steps up to answer some questions for detectives.
He was upset, understandably so. I let him know that we would do everything we could to get to the bottom of whoever was responsible for her death.
I appreciate that.
He really wanted to catch the guy who did this.
Although at that point, he knew even less about the shooting than the detectives.
He told my aunt that he chased after the guy.
Devin had called her and told her someone came out of the bushes and they shot Shervon several times.
Devin's statements were all very consistent.
However, according to Shervon's cousin, there's one thing Devin hasn't told detectives.
Devin was actually married.
So there's an ex-wife?
Not exactly.
He said that Shervon had recently found out that her fiance was actually still married.
I didn't know he was actually married till later on in a relationship. It was just very upsetting to me.
But now detectives wonder, was anyone else upset about what appears to be a love triangle between Shervon, Devin, and his wife?
When officers were bringing Cardell in, he made a strange statement to DJ about wanting his payment.
Yeah, why don't my money play, bro?
They're already suspicious that Shervon's death was a murder for hire. And Devin Sr.'s wife would have an obvious motive.
It could have been a domestic issue. It could have been the wife who found out about this affair.
Thank you for your time.
Hoping to learn more about Devin's marriage, detectives head to the station to get his formal statement.
When they told Devin that Shervon was dead, he appeared very shaken by the news.
Devin also seems eager to help detectives find out who's behind Shervon's murder.
The first question was about his marriage, and Mr. Bickham did not deny that he was married.
How long have you been married? 12 years.
He was pretty forthcoming about that.
Devin says he'd been just as forthcoming with Shervon.
Shervon knew all about the marriage. However, he did say that his wife was not aware of his relationship with Shervon.
But according to Devin, she was about to find out.
He had been planning on divorcing his wife.
Stay tuned as we uncover what happened to beloved mother Shervon Alexander on the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Hours after she was shot to death in a suburban Chicago park, Shervon Alexander's fiance, Devin Bickham Sr., has just told detectives that he was planning to leave his wife in order to marry Shervon. But according to Devin, his wife, 32-year-old Tammy Denton, was still in the dark.
Mr. Bickham stated to the officers that he was for sure that his wife Tammy knew nothing about him and Miss Alexander's relationship.
But now that Shervon is dead, detectives aren't so sure.
Tammy could have gotten wind of Devin's affair and decided to save her marriage by taking out the competition.
And if so, had she recruited her stepson DJ to carry out the plot?
Devin claimed that DJ and Shervon had never had any issues.
Let me see your hands! But if that was the case, why was he driving what detectives believe to be the getaway car?
After having dinner that night, they decided to go to the park.
Devin said on the way, he got a call from Devin Jr., and he may have mentioned that they're on their way to the park.
But when detectives ask Devin if he owns a gun, it begins to look even more likely that his son DJ is involved.
That was given to me as a kid, but I don't know where it is.
His wife Tammy did not like guns, so he kept it hidden away.
But according to Devin, it had recently gone missing. Was it possible Shervon had been shot with her fiancé's gun?
We recovered a .380 Lorson, and we had .380 cartridges at the scene over at the park.
The detectives showed Mr. Bickham a picture of the weapon that was recovered in the gray sedan, and he definitely confirmed that that was the missing gun.
That gun was actually a gift from Devin's marriage to Tammy.
Which strikes detectives as no coincidence.
It was definitely starting to look like Devin's wife had been behind Shervon's murder.
Asking Devin to stick around in case they have any more questions, detectives move on to his son, DJ.
Detectives thought that if the stepmother was involved and they leaned on him hard enough, he would give her up.
It could have been the son who was upset with his father. The father could have been the target, and the wrong person got killed.
Asked about the shooting, DJ denies any involvement.
DJ's alibi for his time during the shooting that him and Cardell were, in fact, at Cardell's girlfriend's house.
The address he gave detectives was in the same general area that they were pulled over.
But his explanation for how the gun ended up in the car is far less plausible.
He told the detectives that someone had threw the gun into his car.
Which we found probably less than truthful.
Especially since DJ's dad has already said the gun was his.
The officers showed DJ the same picture of the weapon, and he confirmed that that was definitely his father's firearm.
What are the chances that your father's pistol is used in the shooting that somebody randomly throws into your car? Okay, that's a pretty big yes, right?
Realizing he's in over his head, DJ says he's ready to tell detectives the truth.
He said that after he and Cardell left Cardell's girlfriend's house, that Cardell directed him to a place near the park.
DJ tells detectives Cardell directed him to a street corner near the park.
Cardell got out of the car.
He said a few minutes later he heard gunshots. And after that he saw Cardell run into the car.
Go, drive! What happened? Just drive!
But detectives still don't buy DJ's story.
Why didn't he tell you you were going there? He didn't. No, he did not.
But under pressure from detectives, DJ finally lets something slip.
Trevon was pressuring him to divorce Tammy.
Obviously, you can't marry someone that's already married.
DJ said the affair his father was having with Trevon had gone too far.
Stay tuned as we uncover what happened to beloved mother Shervon Alexander on the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Detectives investigating Shervon Alexander's murder have just had one of their suspicions confirmed by her fiancé's son, DJ Bickham.
DJ said that the relationship of his father and Miss Alexander is what led to her murder.
But even though DJ had more or less named Cardell as the shooter, he wouldn't say why he did it.
With DJ stonewalling them, detectives turn to 35-year-old Cardell Taylor, the man they suspect killed Shervon.
Right now, we know what you did, you know what you did. Okay, now what you need to figure out is what kind of life can I have?
Backed into a corner, Cardell starts talking.
Cardell told investigators ultimately probably the most consistent story in the end. He kind of explained how the whole chain of events happened.
He begins by admitting that someone had hired him to kill Shervon. But was DJ the mastermind, or simply the middleman?
Is there somebody else involved?
He said he only knew what DJ told him.
DJ's son told you what? Then who's trying to marry? You don't know her name, but she's trying to who's married?
Cardell's story confirmed DJ's claim that the murder was over his father's affair with Shervon.
Okay. Did you ever have a conversation with DJ where you mentioned his dad wanted this done?
It seemed very, very likely that Mr. Bickham's wife, Tammy, was behind this hit.
But whoever arranged to have Shervon killed, her death hadn't cost them much.
And that's amazing how cheap life is, that someone's willing to take anyone's life for $400.
Cardell says that once they'd agreed on the price, DJ had picked him up and they'd driven to the park.
What did you do while you were in there?
He took some Vicodin, some Oxycontin, and he said he passed out in the passenger seat of DJ's car.
Sometime later, DJ woke him.
There, take this.
He told them that he got the murder weapon from DJ.
Revert. All right.
And you walk across the street. What did it all look like? It was black. It was white. Okay. You walk across the street, and then what happened?
Cardell said when he walked up to the car, he didn't expect to see Devin Sr. there.
You didn't go to the car. DJ didn't mention that she was in this car with my dad, so be careful. You really didn't expect him to be there?
It became clear to us that DJ and Cardell hadn't spent a lot of time carefully planning their actions because it was pretty disorganized.
Still, Cardell had done what he'd been hired to do. Once they have Cardell's confession, detectives turn back to DJ.
Now that the detectives have identified as DJ as being the middleman, they are trying to find out if Tammy is behind the hit.
But when detectives pressure DJ about the details of Cardell's confession, he reveals that it wasn't his stepmother behind the murder.
You needed his son for what reason to do this album?
DJ revealed to detectives that his father was the mastermind behind the hit.
Why? Why did your dad want this stuff? I'm saying because he wanted to get rid of it.
DJ tells detectives that his dad started dating Shervon while separated from his stepmother.
According to DJ, that had caused some problems between his dad and Shervon.
She was pressuring him to divorce Tammy. She was also threatening Mr. Bickham to tell Tammy about the affair.
So, according to DJ, his father had come up with a plan.
DJ said it was around April or May that his father had asked him if he knew someone that would kill someone for him.
That's when DJ introduces his father to Cardell.
Plan A was to take her to a motel and kill her at a motel. This is as premeditated as it comes.
But according to DJ, on the evening of the murder, his father made a last-minute change to the plan.
Hey, we still doing this?
Yeah.
You told me to leave my house and to go to the park.
Stay tuned as we uncover what happened to beloved mother Shervon Alexander on the Fatal Attraction podcast.
Devin Bickham's senior son DJ has just revealed to detectives that his father was the mastermind behind the murder of 29-year-old Shervon Alexander.
DJ said that Shervon was urging his dad to divorce his wife Tammy so that they could get married.
DJ also walks detectives through the events leading up to the murder.
According to DJ, Devin had coordinated the whole thing.
We still doing this?
Yeah.
When detectives bring Devin Sr. back into the interrogation room, he denies everything.
It wasn't. No.
Even when detectives inform him of DJ's confession, Devin Sr. still denies any involvement.
Devin Sr. begins weeping and says that his son is a liar.
Not that Devin's denials do him any good.
They then went ahead and arrested Mr. Bickham, DJ, and Cardell.
The news that her fiancé is behind the murder stuns Shervon's family.
I just didn't think a human being could have so much hate in their heart to do something like this to somebody that she thought loved her.
It was terrifying to find out Devin had been involved, let alone find out at all that someone that she loved and cared about could do that to her.
Although the family doubts DJ's claim that Shervon was threatening to tell Devin's wife about their relationship.
She knew right from wrong. She was not the type of young lady that would break up a family.
She thought that they were getting a divorce.
I think that when she found out that he was living this double life and he probably was not planning on leaving his wife, I believe Shervon got to a point that, you know what, if that's what you want, that's fine, but I want out. And I believe that's when he decided to take matters in his own hands.
Now it's up to the justice system to ensure that Devin's held responsible for Shervon's murder.
To help secure a conviction, the prosecutors offered DJ a plea deal if he would agree to testify against his father.
But in the end, DJ takes his chances at trial.
For some reason, he thought that they were going to beat it.
Father and son stand trial together in May of 2014.
Mr. Bickham and his son DJ were tried together in front of separate juries.
The prosecution opens by claiming that Devin Sr. knew exactly what he was getting his son into and exactly what was going to happen that night when Cardell Taylor approached his car.
The whole thing was arranged by Mr. Bickham. It was coordinated by his son DJ, who provided the gun for Cardell.
Then, while Shervon lay dying in the passenger seat, Devin dialed 911 and began covering his tracks.
Devin's frantic 911 call was nothing but an act.
Who shot your girlfriend?
To prove that he did know, prosecutors present the jury with Cardell and DJ's taped confessions, as well as Devin's phone records.
There was significant communication between DJ and his father shortly before the homicide.
The text messages were very specific. Devin Bickham Sr. was asking Devin Bickham Jr. where he was at. It shows the premeditation of everything that took place.
In the end, the jury agrees, finding Devin guilty of murder.
Mr. Bickham was sentenced 95 years with no parole.
I think it was Judge Love that told Devin that she was going to make sure that she give him enough time that on his way that he'll come out of there is out of pine box.
Devin's son also pays a heavy price.
DJ was also found guilty of murder and sentenced to 50 years in prison without the possibility of parole.
A few months later, Cardell Taylor's murder trial also ends in a guilty verdict.
Cardell was sentenced with 70 years with no parole.
I'm glad that Devin Jr. and Cardell will never, ever get a chance to do this to no one else again.
But despite all the pain Devin and his accomplices caused, Shervon's family has found it within themselves to forgive.
I have no hate in my heart for them. I would encourage them, go before God and ask God for forgiveness.
I actually pray every night that each and every one of them have peace with God.
And the family also knows that no amount of time served will ever bring back the one they loved.
My sister's gone, but she's not forgotten.
I miss her so much. I wish she was here.
There's no one else like her that can take that spot or that void.
She's gonna always be in my heart, no matter what.
A quietly kept love triangle has resulted in the loss of a vibrant young mom. This unscrupulous story of deception and betrayal serves as a reminder that fairy tales can become the ultimate nightmare when dishonesty is involved. Shervon Alexander, a woman deeply loved by her family and friends, has left an incredible mark on their lives and will always be remembered. Coming up on the next episode of the Fatal Attraction Podcast.
She was a young woman struggling to get past tragedy.
He was 23 when he passed. I remember them being very close. That really shattered her.
Until two men helped her get back on track.
He was a little bit older than her. They considered each other really good friends. She fell in love with him.
But which one was with her when she disappeared?
Something wasn't right.
A young woman from Baltimore, Maryland vanishes, and detectives are called to untangle the web of lies following her mysterious disappearance. What happened to Sharice Raggins? Tune in to the next episode of the Fatal Attraction Podcast. We will see you in the next episode.